evening, motherfuckers! Welcome to this week's episode of Video Ferox, where the theme month is I'm going to let the idiots drive the ship, aka Ashley and Brad and Teresa and Ian are all going to pick one movie and we're going to watch it. Tonight, it's Brad's turn, and he has chosen Lady Terminator. You've seen the Terminator, but have you seen the Terminator kill people with a magic vagina snake? I think not. Let's roll the trailer.
Sometimes the past should be left to memory, to gather dust within the covers of recorded time.
In 100 years, I'll have my revenge on your great-granddaughter.
Whoever finds the secret of the South Sea Queen will live in great danger of his soul.
Oh, yes, I will.
But how was she to know? Meet Tanya, an American anthropologist who travels to Indonesia in search of truth. What she finds is that the legend of the South Sea Queen is more than a story. It is her fate.
Oh, God, I need a woman!
A tale of possession, revenge, insatiable desire, and an evil that will not die.
Thank you.
Erica.
That woman cannot die because she has the spirit of the South Sea Queen. So I knew the South Sea Queen has reincarnated.
Where is Erica? Where?
Damn, she got bit!
But don't worry, I'll protect you.
Big guy.
Hi, Max. How you doing? Let's
kick ass.
She is the South Sea Queen. She is the Nasty Hunter.
And welcome back from the trailer for Lady Terminator, where she mates and then she terminates, at least according to the tagline on the poster. All right, so let us get into some high-level, spoiler-free, did you like it? So, Brad, did you like Terminator, Lady Terminator? Not Terminator, the other one.
This movie is fun because you're sitting there watching it and you frequently have a, oh my God, I can't believe they did that moment. And this happens again and again and again, partly because of the plagiarism and partly because of just the insane level of action and violence that this movie has.
So, it goes without saying that Terminator is an absolute stone cold classic. It's an absolute monolith of the slasher genre. Although I do like Terminator 2 a little bit better. This, however, I think I like better than Terminator just because it's just so crazy, just so out there. I mean, okay, don't get me wrong. This is, well and truly a terrible movie compared to Terminator. But the other one's just kind of, dark and dour and plotting and slow and just kind of this in your face, where this one's just
Pretty good analogy.
yeah. So, okay. You like it, I like it. What else the hell? Well, actually, let's go say something else about it. Like in the spoiler section, not that we can spoiler something that you probably... Never mind.
You know the plot.
You know the fucking plot. How are we going to spoil the Terminator? You've seen the Terminator and this... Never mind. Anyway, let's go on to the next thing, shall we? And like we said before, this is essentially the Terminator. I mean, the first 20 minutes is new material, but the back half of this movie is 100% the Terminator. It opens with this South Seas castle, and there's like this voiceover talking about mysticism and God and some sort of, typical video nasty bullshit like from Invasion of the Blood Farmers. And there's this South Seas queen, and she is boning this dude. And the dude is unable to satisfy her, and so her magical vagina snake bites off his penis and he dies.
We're not kidding. This is actually in the movie repeatedly.
And then it's like, bring me another man. I need another man to satiate my sexual desires. And so this good-looking prince sort of dude comes rolling in. And when she's about to start boning him, he grabs her magical vagina snake and yoinks it out, turns it into a magical dagger, and then she's like, how dare you profane my magical vagina snake? I shall now curse you and seek revenge on your great-granddaughter 100 years' time hence. What?
Why not have revenge on the dude right then and there? And besides, she's a goddess. There's comparatively little she cannot do.
Oh, she was totally smacking the dude around. She flew her across the room and like, just do it now. Whatever.
I mean, what's the point of being a goddess if you can't call upon the fury of lightning from the heavens?
So we jump 100 years precisely into the future where we meet our Terminator?
We meet she starts out as the female lead and then winds up transforming into the antagonist. It's weird. Of course, there's many things that are weird about this movie.
Yeah, it's weird. It finds everything in this thing.
The lady is an anthropologist, and she wants to go diving in a particular part where there's ruins that are relating to her particular field of interest. And she charters a boat.
Well, first she goes and buys a book from the guy from the shopkeeper from Gremlins.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He really is the guy from Gremlins. I mean, he might as well be the guy's twin brother. At any rate, charters her boat, goes out, and goes diving, and then things go weird. The boat, gets grabbed by the water and dragged underneath, and there's no sign of the lady doing her diving. Oh, and the captain of the boat was saying, "Nope, I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. This place is dangerous. It's haunted, And
then she flashes a smile to him and says, "Please," and it's like, okay, fine.
A bit later, there's lightning flashing over the sea. There's a beach. She comes out of the water, and there's lightning all around her, and she goes and she starts on her trail of mayhem.
At this point, we pick up the Terminator's story arc, where she comes out of the ocean and has the "your clothes, give them to me now" scene. And then we move on to the cop shop, where the cops are like saying, "Hey, there's a whole bunch of murders going on, what the hell?" And they all have the same MO, where their dongs were bitten off. And then it moves to the tech noir scene where we meet our Sarah Connor, who is this pop star rock actress. Absolutely fucking terrible song. They have the shootout in the tech noir. There's a car chase. So Kyle is not from the future this time. He is just a cop with a mullet. Yep. And mullet friends.
It's never really explained where this guy is from. I keep thinking he's Australian, because there are Australians that do go to Indonesia fairly regularly, but he doesn't sound like an Aussie. He doesn't sound like anything.
All the scenes we see of like set in the city and like the stock footage of like the skylines and stuff, it's all very American. All the script is in like English, and so it's not Indonesia. I don't know where the hell this movie's set in. Honestly, it doesn't really fucking matter.
I was confused. They did at least manage to have a reasonable number of people in the background who were Asian, but I'm not entirely sure whether or not they were Indonesian or Thai or Laotian or Vietnamese or Chinese or Filipino or what.
So yeah, it has all of the story beats that you get from the Terminator: the cop shootout, the fight at the end with in the kind of the industrial plant, all the story beats. So much so that there was one day that I was doing a tweet along with some other friends online, and we were watching the Terminator, and I couldn't find my copy of Terminator, and so I'm like, well, wait a second. Went and got my copy of Lady Terminator, and I tweeted along with them, and my scenes were synced up with their scenes, no problem. All the way up to the point where, at the very end, where they get to the factory crushing stuff at the end. And then it's like a whole bunch of people show up instead of like just Kyle and versus the Terminator. Mm-hmm. All the cop friends show up, and they've got like a tank. There's a helicopter. There's explosions and car chases. And all of a sudden, Lady Terminator, she busts out like this laser eye thing and starts shooting every motherfucker around. I'm like, why didn't you use that in like the tech noir back? You know, that should have been your opening gambit, not start doing it at the end of the thing.
There's other weird things. There's like getting the magical dagger. The female lead, her granduncle, he's got this dagger that's been handed down to him from his ancestors. And he also, at one point or another, gave her a necklace when she was growing up as a girl. And she just has been wearing it.
Oh, and that's where you get all the false, when you have the scenes where Arnold is going through the phone book and going through the false Sarahs and killing them all, that's what's triggering her, is she's going around and says, oh, you've got that necklace. And then obviously that you must be the person I'm trying to kill, and so they try and kill so.
After Sarah gets the magical dagger, I'm like, well, why not just use the magical dagger right away? Solve a whole lot of problems. But no, everybody has to keep shooting at this woman. Again and again and again, even though the bullets do nothing at all against her, except occasionally knock her over.
They ripped up her shirt when she was escaping from the cop shop.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Oh, no, it wasn't the cop shop. It was the Tech Noir. My bad.
The Lady Terminator's outfit is almost entirely spot on. I mean, I actually liked this because she's got the black leather jacket with the silver studs all over it. She's got the black leather pants. She's got these pretty awesome looking boots, also black leather. And this, instead of wearing a white t-shirt, she's got this skimpy little blue top. But everything else is completely spot on, except for no sunglasses. I was really, really disappointed in the complete and utter lack of sunglasses.
When you have a great-looking lead like that, you don't want to obscure their face with the sunglasses. So yeah, no sunglasses after she does. She even does the eye scalpel scene, and pops it out, which I mean is actually a reasonably decent-looking effect when she does that. It's just the effect is spoiled when she takes this eyeball that's about the size of a softball and holds it under the water, and you can clearly see it's not anything that would fit into her eye socket.
Some of the bits are just like funny. Like there's one bit where they're in the police station and she has just been mowing down cops right and left, and
in the balls, thank you very much. Every kill is totally blows their balls away.
Even if she hits him in the chest first, which is funny.
And that's where the guy from Gremlins shows up again and starts doing mystical mumbo jumbo at her in the cop shop shootout, and then fires like this laser green beam into her eye, which then explodes and doesn't really do any damage. So what the fuck was the point of whatever Gremlins, man, go away.
By the way, nobody in this movie can act.
Oh, God, no. Now, I wonder how much of that is an artifact of the dub, because this was very obviously dubbed on the super cheap. So I don't know how much blame to assign to the actress and the actors, or how much to assign to the dubbing artists.
Well, if there's one mercy, at least the Terminator herself had practically no dialogue after she got possessed.
However, before the first 20 minutes before she gets possessed and turned into Lady Terminator, we get a lot of acting from her, and it is
Dreadful.
pretty fucking awful.
Come on. In this day and age, you speak of legends? I'm an anthropologist, huh?
There's zero chemistry between Sarah and Kyle. Zero at all. Nothing at all. The only reason that we have a sex scene in there is because they're going through this Terminator script and they say, oh, time for a sex scene. Okay, let's have the two fuck. Done. No problem. So there isn't that, a love greater than time.
The love scene between Sarah and Kyle in the real movie is one of the greatest love scenes of all time. Whereas the love scene in this movie is pretty flat. I mean, it does have its amusing moments, which have absolutely nothing to do with the sex, but there's one bit where he's on top of her, and they're in a very beautiful setting, by the way. It's all natural, and there's a stream, and a nice moss bed, and everything else. And while they're going at it, flowers just spontaneously start falling on them. And then they do a cutaway scene where there's a fern with water dripping off the ends of the fern. I'm just sitting there looking at the Freudian,
Subtle!
looking at the Freudian symbolism and going, but I mean, that part was just funny. But I mean, the oh my God, none of the characters were really all that interesting, except for Kyle, except for Sarah, and except for the Terminator. I mean, everyone else was just stamped out of a cookie cutter and complete tropes.
Calling them two-dimensional is, in fact, an insult to the second dimension.
There is one guy who was interesting in the fact that he didn't die right away. He was injured in the shootout in the police station and came back for the final climactic battle and then dies. So it's like, I mean, they could have done a little bit more with him to make him more interesting, because he was obviously the male lead's friend, but at the same time, he was handled really poorly. Then there's the guy who was driving the tank. He wasn't,
oh yeah, Mr. Mullet Cop.
He was amusing simply because of his hairstyle and his completely over-the-top attitude.
Yeah, eat it, you bitch!
The way he was presented was just totally gung-ho and nuts. Of course, everything in this movie is gung-ho and nuts, but it's still, you just found yourself wincing for the character design and the attempts by the poor actors to try and make the characters work. I mean, no, none of them worked. None of them were any good at all, except for the three leads.
I'm going to have to hand it to the movie where, yes, it's absolutely inept beyond words. However, it's not boring. Oh my God, this thing does not stop moving. There's always a gunfight or some sex or some titties or, a car chase that is always not but 3 minutes away. Mm-hmm. So this thing is absolutely packed to the brim with action.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
and super violent action, too.
Their special effects guys must have used like a zillion squibs. There's people just getting mowed down everywhere, and guys that are getting sexed to death by the Lady Terminator. And there's people that are just random passerbys that get run over or shot or have parts of buildings fall on them. There's one bit in the police station where you've got this guy who's obviously a scientist who's just doing stuff in his little laboratory, and boom, suddenly the door kicks in and there's the Lady Terminator. She just, and guy, I mean, he has this one moment of what the hell's going on before he gets killed. And I mean, it was a well executed, maybe maybe executed isn't the right word, maybe a well-performed scene simply because the actor playing that scientist, whose name he has no real dialogue, but that guy was more interesting just because of that one moment of, what? I mean, that they could have done a lot more with moments like that.
Or just bits like the guy who comes by and say, hey, you got a dead cat in there? Fuck you, asshole. That scene, the guy, the counterpart to that scene, he comes in and sees Lady Terminator on the bed. She's got like this sheer veneer drape over her. And he comes in and she just kind of does this with the finger. And he's like, oh yeah, fuck yeah. And starts jumping her bones. And that was interesting just because he was so fucking eager to fuck this Lady Terminator, who then, of course, it ends badly for because magic vagina snake.
You think there's going to be like an argument or an altercation or something because, he's like the hotel manager and, here's his tenant and she's got the bathroom part completely covered in blood from her eye surgery. And he's like, nope, just...
I see some tits, I lose all higher brain function.
Yeah, I know, and then there's the guys on the beach, the ones where she steals the clothing from.
Oh, the dude's walking along, like, just pissing in the air as he's walking. What the fuck?
Okay, granted, she's hot, but there's really no lead up to the sex. I mean, they just go into a car and she kills the first guy, and then the second guy, she chases him and seduces him on the sand. And you'd think that when your friend is vanished and hasn't come out of the car yet, you think maybe there might be something wrong. No, no, he totally falls for it.
Okay, Arnold's a pretty good-looking dude, but the Lady Terminator, she only has one role, and this was it. And she, before this, was not a penthouse, a playmate of the month for Australia. So she is a really good-looking chick, and she doesn't waste any time getting her tits out.
This little petite lady is hauling around these big-ass assault rifles all the freaking time. I mean, she either did some serious working out before doing this role, or she was just naturally strong. Because those things have some serious kick, and they're big weapons. I mean, she's not a very big woman, so I do admire the fact that she was able to haul around assault rifles for practically the entire movie without demonstrating any fatigue. Sarah is also very pretty. In fact, I liked her better than I liked the Lady Terminator, even though, admittedly, the Lady Terminator was also pretty easy on the eyes. But one thing that's interesting is that the villain is so dynamic in how she stands and walks and moves that your eye cannot help but be drawn to her. Her modeling background is pretty obvious in just how she carries herself. And I mean, that was one thing that was one of the better aspects of it. I mean, okay, her acting performance in the early stages before she gets possessed is really bad even by this movie's standards.
I'm not a lady, I'm an anthropologist.
But when she's not saying anything, she carries it off really well, and she is formidable.
All right, we can gush on about the movie for a while now, but why don't we just jump right to do you have any final thoughts on Lady Terminator?
This movie is fun, it's entertaining, it's definitely action-packed. If you like action, you're gonna get a kick out of this, because it is just a non-stop train wreck of a movie.
It is a sleaze film lover's Golden Chalice. This thing is absolutely fucking awesome. Assuming you like this sort of schlocky, cheesy, terrible Indonesian flick.
It really is just a total bomb of a movie. There's nothing that is artistically redeeming about this film other than the fact that it's just so insane.
All right, I have a question for you, Brad. Which movie do you like better, Terminator or Lady Terminator?
They could have done a hell of a lot more with this concept. The magical aspect of it was hokey and weird and frankly only marginally made sense, but they could have had a lot more fun with that aspect of it rather than making it be a complete note-for-note ripoff. But on the other hand, Terminator was very popular, and I can see why they did what they did.
Yeah, but this thing came out in like '89, it was like 6-7 years after Terminator, so the heat had cooled by that point.
I'm gonna have to go with Terminator being a movie that I like better. It's too iconic for me.
At the end of the day, this is an absolute train wreck of a movie. Although, generally speaking, not nearly as bad as some of the stuff we've seen for the project. Mm-hmm. But generally, this is an absolute disaster of a movie. But it is such fun. So yes, absolutely go and seek it out if you like the schlock and cheese.
Thanks for coming to our show tonight. We appreciate the opportunity to serve you. We think it's great to be able to enjoy fine entertainment in the comfort and privacy of your own car. The come-as-you-are atmosphere is a pleasant way to relax in the evening. Don't you agree?
Hasta la vista, Lady Terminator. So, next week, we're going to keep the Terminator train running. It's going to be Terminator 2 by Bruno Mattei. Much better than the actual James Cameron Terminator. So, join us here for that next week. Please drop us an email, thevideonastyproject@gmail.com, and help validate our lonely existence by knowing that there's somebody out there watching this. And next week, shit, I've just lost the train. So I'm just going to throw it to stay evil and fuck it. Bye-bye.